one of the most fascinating cross-cultural stories of the 19th and 20th centuries is Alexandra David-Neel. She was born in 1868 in France, raised between France and Belgium, but is most known for the 25% of her life that she spent living, traveling across and translating in Asia. She died a few weeks short of her 101st birthday in 1969. She grew up in a household that discussed thought, political and philosophical, and from an early age realized that it was Asian language, philosophy, and religion that interested her the most. While still a teenager, she moved to England and then traveled across Europe as an opera singer. She lived a few years as an opera singer in Tunis in the north of Africa in her 30s. But it was from her 40s that everything changed for her, because she finally got a stipend and travel papers to go to Asia. At the age of 45, she adopted a 13-year-old boy she met called Avor Yongden, and together they traveled Asia and they became Tibetan lamas. A particularly interesting trip when she was 50 and they were in Beijing. It was 1918, the world was in the throes of the First World War, there was civil unrest in China, there was a pulmonary epidemic that was killing thousands, it was cold, it was snowing. Finally they got their travel papers. She was 50. And getting on the train to go back to Tibet, she wrote that everyone was masked and it smelled heavily of disinfectant. So coming out of COVID, I think we can all resonate with this. But back in Tibet, she continued to translate, and you can find her translations, you can find many of her works. She destroyed a few at the beginning of the 20th century, wanting to break with the past, but still so many survive, and they've been translated to many languages. And I will also put a link below to the house she bought age 60 in the south of France that has become a museum. But two things I'd like to highlight. One is that all of this happened after the age of 40. In her late 70s, she was still traveling across China. And the other thing is, if you've been paying attention to the pictures above, often when she went to a place, she dressed as that place to visually show that she was at that moment part of the society. I think this is something that often those of us who have grown up cross-culturally do, maybe without even thinking, is we connect in a very visual way with societies that we live in. If this is your first introduction to Alexandra David-Neel, I encourage you to check her out. I, for one, really appreciate her writings.